with an opening statement and then open it up for questions.
I guess we'll start with, it's always a fun time of year. We're getting close to opening night. Preseason gets long. I always make the joke, it gets long for everybody, the players and the coaches. But, I think we're approaching practice 24 or something like that today. And, the guys can see the light at the end of the tunnel. They've had a very good preseason. I feel that, how I kind of judge us is our improvement week to week. And we are getting better. We'll see what that equates to once we start playing teams for real and when it matters. But for now, I'm pleased with how we're practicing. I'm pleased with our physical and mental condition right now. And, hopefully that will continue moving forward. And we'll see after we play a game against another team on Sunday kind of how we stack up.
I mean, what is that anticipation like for you? You see these guys over the summer, you see them playing against Ricky Rubio, you see them in practice, maybe anticipating how they'll fare against the competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, I think everybody loves the start of the season. Everybody's starting 0-0. And people want to place different expectations and all this stuff in the preseason. To me, none of that stuff matters. I tell the guys it only matters in March. And the guys that get accolades are from the guys of the teams that do well. And so, we want to be all in about the right things. We're excited to get started. Also excited to play somebody else. I know that if they're going against each other here for the last month. And, we have one more practice here on Saturday after today before we get on the bus and play somebody else.
Coach, talk about the Spain trip. I asked the guys now how much of a team bonding situation it was. Just from your perspective, from game one to the first game to the last game.
Well, let's start back here in July, the 10 practices that we were allowed, because that's to me where it all started. They got to kind of gel during those 10 practices to see kind of what the freshmen brought, what Jack brought, what adding Josh now to the mix brought. And so after we left those 10 practices, I think we at least had a better idea of what it was going to look like once we played games in Spain. And then, once we played, the bonding was great off the court. We got to visit 3 beautiful cities in an amazing country. And then obviously in game 3, we got to play against an NBA player, which was really cool for them. And the other side of it is too, we won 3 games and we won 3 close games. And to me, that's more important because last year that's an area where we really struggled. And I thought we handled it very well in Spain in August. I hope we handle it very well in November, December, January, February here in Houston.
You mentioned that last season, especially toward the end. It wasn't so much about how you started, but how you finished competition and all, and how you looked at it from game to game and realized, like, as I say, basketball memory. Okay, we've been in this situation before. Now let's implement it out on we've done things in practice. Let's do this in a game now. How the Spain trip was a perfect, as you mentioned, a perfect example of how you deal with situations. And the guys mentioned that they had close games, so now you got to finish.
Yeah, and situations is a word you can use. Adversity is another one. You got to find ways to overcome all the things that are happening because just like the teams in Spain we're good players. The teams on our schedule are very good, and things are going to happen where it doesn't all go our way all the time. And how do we handle those situations and handle adversity will be a big key to our season in terms of where we end up and how we play.
I mean, with that in mind, it's a long season. How important are maybe those first 5 games, first 10 games for you?
They're very important. Obviously they all count the same, but you want to try and build some momentum. You want to establish confidence. You want to get a group of guys that believe in themselves and what we're doing. And so to do that, you need to get some wins early. The schedule is challenging, but hopefully we can play well early and get off to a good start. I mean, I know that was a rough beginning last year. That is kind of good that it's in those upperclassmen and returners' minds to really be maybe a little more focused and locked in as we approach.
I mean, you've talked about the freshmen and maybe their ability to wrap their heads around what you're doing, having a high basketball IQ. How does that affect the trust, maybe the length of the leash that you're going to give them early on?
That's a very good question. Those 5 kids have impressed me. They've impressed me from the day they walked on campus in terms of what they're about as kids and as players. And so I've been able to feed them more stuff, maybe more than I could in the past. You know, last year's team and even some of the previous year's teams we've had here in terms of freshmen. And obviously it's a big group of 5 kids, but they're all unique. Their skill set's unique, their personalities are unique, but they have one common thing together, and they want to win. And they can all help us win. And so they're going to have opportunities early to impact games. I think on different nights you'll see each one of the 5, hopefully some nights 2, 3, or 4 of the 5, really impacting the outcome of a game.
Do you have an idea maybe how many you might even see in the starting lineup in the first game?
Starting lineup, I don't right now. Maybe Sunday night I'll have a better idea. But they're all going to play. I mean, I think all 5 of them can help us win. And I think they can all help us win opening night. So I'm really excited about our depth. That's going to be a big change from last year. I'm excited about the weapons we have offensively. And those guys are a big part of it.
8 new guys on the squad. That's a lot in one season. How are they adapting?
Well, it starts with a guy like Jack. You know, he came in and really, I think, impressed them, the team, and the young guys with his work ethic and his attitude and his experience. And so that made it easy. You know, he made it easy on everybody with the way he approached things. And like I said, the freshmen from day one, we knew when we recruited them that we thought we had a special group of guys here. They have done nothing but reinforce that from the day they've been on campus. And their character as kids is amazing and off the charts. So I wasn't really worried about it. It's actually gone, maybe it went a little quicker than I thought. They really bonded quickly. But the Spain trip really helped that. You know, they could have spent time overseas for 8 days, and you'd fly in a plane for 15 hours with a group of guys. You know, you get to know each other. And they're a good group. They're fun to coach, and I'm really excited to get started with them.
The schedule is a schedule, but you also have you scheduled a scrimmage against? Are you off scrimmaging this year against?
Yeah.
What?
Stephen F. Austin on Sunday.
Oh, okay. That's the only one you
And then an exhibition game here a week from tonight.
Okay. What are you looking for in a scrimmage situation? Because basically that is a situation type flow.
Yeah. No, you know, it's going to be a really good one. They're very good. It's going to be a challenging afternoon Sunday, and I think it's a really good time to do it because, you know, we'll get a good barometer of the things, if the things we've been working on are actually working, or there are certain things we need to really maybe change gears and focus on before opening night and spend more time on, or is it just a matter of we just need to keep growing and improving? You know, Stephen F. Austin is a veteran team that is coached by a terrific coach. They're going to win, be at the top of their conference, fight for an NCAA tournament berth. You know, they've already, I believe, beaten Texas A&M in a scrimmage, so it'll be challenging.
Defensively, how does this year's team feel differently from last year?
That's a good question. At times, that's an area of concern because you have 5 freshmen. There's other days where I think we can put lineups out there that can guard people. It's just a matter of finding that consistency, and that's what I talk to the guys about all the time. To win at this level and to be successful at this level, you have to be consistent. And we are striving to try and become a consistently tough defensive team. If we can get there early, then I think we can be in some of these tough games that we have scheduled. If we struggle in those games, then it's going to be hard to win because there's teams on the schedule. We play at Penn, at Houston, Wichita State, BYU. I mean, there's a lot of good teams on there, so we're going to have to be ready.
I mean, in your experience, what does that freshman defensive progression typically look like? Because, I mean, you've got some lengthy guys on right now.
And we recruited some guys that are defensive-minded. Chris Mullins is a guard that can guard people. He has great instincts. He anticipates well. He I think can be a very good defensive player. Quentin Malora Brown at the center for a young guy is advanced defensively. He has knowledge of what people are trying to do. He plays good position defense. He's gotten a lot stronger, and I think he can defend his position for periods of time as a freshman. Peyton Moore has the athleticism to do it as well, and Drew and Trey have the length. They just need to continue to put on strength and really, really make it a priority for them.
Any other questions?
Is it?
Coach, thank you.
Thanks, good.
You're welcome, guys.